Good evening and welcome to the Drive at 5 on the IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station. I'm your host, Roman, and we have a great show planned for you today. Please stay tuned after the Drive at 5 for Warriors Talk with Rochelle at 6 p.m. Tonight, my guest is an educator, musician. He is a creator of Sandbox Symphony that will take place this weekend. Please give a Drive at 5 welcome to Brother L. Welcome to the Drive, sir.
Peace, peace, peace. I'm so happy to be here.
No problem, sir. So please give intellectualradio.com/iHeart radio station your background.
So, few things. I am an educator. I'm an audio engineer. I am a spontaneous composer, mainly working in the realms of electronic music. Uh, I do various things within that. So,
Oh, yeah?
mhm.
Okay. You also a high school teacher? Well, you can
So
give us
yeah, and
that?
I'm an educator, but
Okay.
I like to say I'm a artist that teaches, not a teaching artist,
Okay.
because the art that I'm developing is important to share, but the art doesn't exist without itself. So, in other words, I can't really share if I don't build the art.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So tell us about Sandbox Symphony.
Sandbox Symphony is an arts activation for healing and inspiration, and what it does, kind of like three facets that Sandbox Symphony does. It creates accessibility. It's about healing and inspiration and the way we use art for those particular purposes. And it's a social practice movement and how I utilize people to, in some ways, follow their own paths and be inspired by others, uh, bringing them in, increasing their network, and also developing opportunities for commerce so that art can exist, for other people as well. And how do we do that at Sandbox Symphony? With electronic music performances, mainly original music and spontaneously composed in some ways. And then we have an arts activation aspect of it with visual arts, where we create a museum with no walls, with art you can touch and feel and actually be a part of. Because we'll actually have engagement pieces where artisans will show others, how to do some of the things that they do very well. Uh, and then there's the vendor aspect of creativity, because those are artisans as well, making jewelry and the like. And I'm putting all these people together, and we're on the beach, enjoying music, listen to the water, and there's a fitness component as well, where we have yoga, some coordinated dance classes, and some, you know, right on fitness kind of thing. So it's like all of these things put together become this amazing symphony of arts. And that's what Sandbox is. Sandbox Symphony is a symphony of arts activations for healing and inspiration woven through that way.
How did you how did you create this vision and it became reality with the Sandbox Symphony? The vision.
Mm. The vision is still not totally complete because it's developing. But I'll say that in many ways, the idea started from me watching my neighbor and other artists in the neighborhood who understood how to transform space before that was a thing. Um, in particular, I'm talking about Milton Meisenberg. He's, patron saint of the Sandbox Symphony because he was an artist working in the neighborhood, making his totems and transforming old vacant lots that people had no respect for into these prized possessions of the neighborhood where folks could really um, mm, engage and indulge in something that gave them value. Mm. So that's probably one of the main things. But then the people around me, and myself being an artist, I realized the value in making worlds. See, you have to make yourself a world so that you can exist as you want to exist. Um, I think a lot of artists would probably like follow me when I'm saying that. Is that
Well,
you
just in case people outside the artistry they want to follow you, what you mean by that?
okay? So what I mean by that is that music, to impart value on it, it may not be valuable to everyone who doesn't understand it, and particularly if it's new, it people may not have a taste for it. So what artists do sometimes build environments so that it can bring you closer to kind of an even playing field, so that you can experience something that's different from you, or different for you, in a way that it doesn't feel so off-putting, in a way that can let you get to the crux of really what the artist is trying to do. And so what we do is build worlds so that we can exist, so that people could see into the music, into the visual arts, in a way that isn't like, you tasting vinegar for the first time, so to speak. That makes sense.
This the sour
The
taste thing.
sour, the sour taste. Well, vinegar is lovely. I mean, I love it. Vinegar and oil.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, you have your students assist in the theme each year. Tell us about the process and the excitement students have creating the theme because we talked offline and you said, the students inspire each and every theme and you guys create a t-shirt and stuff like that.
got it. So, well, the students are a key part of Sandbox Symphony, in the way that if we're inspiring people, right? What better, you know, population to inspire than the youth, right? So, way it works is that we work on concepts year long, and we do an arts intensive over the summer, based on several different criteria from the year, to actually produce art that will be shown at Sandbox Symphony. So we extract things from the year long curriculum, and we kind of intensify that effort, and then we give it a very finite short time. The arts intensive is about 3 weeks. So from the first day to 12 to 15 days later, classes rather, um, we have full pieces that are shown, on the beach. So it's pretty cool. We kind of push the envelope when that happens. So quite a bit.
Yeah, you don't push it too far, but
Yeah.
just a bit.
They love it. I love it. And we also come up with a theme along the way, you know, conversation over the year, and then parts of the art intensive. We come up with ideas that uh, make Sandbox Symphony what it is. This year's theme is Healing Rays. So we've been going with that healing ray aspect. And if you see any of the promotion, you'll see like sun, people enjoying themselves on the beach, dancing, movement, and just overall good vibes just floating around. And that was our class. So
So, what's the difference between this year's theme and last year's theme?
last year's thing was about transit and how these things work together. One of the students came up with this idea of how the L is, a loop, and these structures that go to different locations in the city. So we did some activations there, utilizing like vinyl plastic wrap to kind of simulate the idea of how the loop and the L goes in a circle, but does different, that goes and visits different neighborhoods all over the city. Uh, we led people through coming into Sandbox Symphony in a suggested way, uh, with that idea in mind. And some of the other art pieces built upon that. So, but what's different? Total different concept. Um,
Do you like tell your students and yourself each and every year, we got to think outside the box? Do you like that concept, thinking outside the box? No ordinary ideas, bringing new concepts, out of the ordinary
Mm.
experience?
Of course, I love thinking out of the ordinary, but we have some finite deadlines of things that we need to do. So um, we transcend the box, but the box becomes whatever we make it over the year. So, like, in terms of thinking outside of the box doesn't exist when it comes to our creativity. And we only put the box on when we realize and lock into a timely manner of activity and how we want to proceed with our art.
Okay, can you name some of the activities?
So, well, sketching, well, it all depends. So, some of the art is visual, some of the art is music, and some of the art is movement. So, I collaborate with other teaching artists as well along the way, who have different expertise, and that's another part of what Sandbox Symphony is like key about is collaboration. So, that answer your question a bit?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
It
All right,
did. You are a music teacher and you play the keyboard. How you incorporate live music in teaching music to your students? That's and also in the Sandbox Symphony.
Mm. So I like to say I'm an artist first because
Okay,
I am,
okay,
no, no, not your
mm,
bad.
okay,
It's just in terms of how it's important for the art to be developed to share anything.
okay, gotcha.
Okay, they don't exist by themselves.
Hmm.
Um, so throughout the year, how do I embrace music concepts with the students? In some ways, once we have some basic theory down, you know, we move on to really what do these instruments mean in the context of certain songs? Like why are you using the bass guitar here, and then why are you using the flute here? What does it do in the context of the entire piece? Can you imagine pulling out the flute? Would the track be the same? What's the feeling that is injected with certain instruments? And then instruments represent certain frequency ranges, so we start getting into that too a little bit. um and it's all about like conceptual composition, and we're working with electronic tools as well. So it's a bit more than just beat making. It's more about sound design and understanding the space within uh, the sound that you utilize. So,
Now, at the beginning of the show, you had a unique piece and you played it. What was that piece entitled?
oh, and the intro. Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah, that was called Ingulile. It's it's a piece that I wrote um about the rabbit, the snake, and the fox. And
the old tale or
no, a new tale
okay.
in the sense of like, you know, what do those animals do, and how do we perceive how they move? You know, slow, fast, over time. So what I did was I got into each character, each animal, and I became that in on each of the three tracks. And um, I developed from one to the next during the actual entire composition in its three movements. So yeah, it's an electronic piece, live performed and spontaneously composed, but it was worked out how I moved to create that piece.
You inspire others to play the keyboard as well. Can you name some people who you inspired to play the keyboard?
Hmm. Can I name some people? I can name some people, but I think that probably one of the most most interesting uh, mentees, I would say, is a poet. His name is Marco Anthony,
Mm.
and I took him to his first Wu Tang concert many moons ago, and so I introduced hip hop to him in a way that like still now um, impacts his life. He became a poet. He's you know I think he's a pastor of some sorts, but he utilizes his words for healing and inspiration. And he'll also be at this year's Sandbox Symphony because we reconnected, you know, and I wanted to promote what he's doing. And it's interesting to see someone that you helped them along the way, gave them some gifts, and now how those gifts develop. So I like to, check in from time to time to see what people are doing. Um, but I don't think, calling out the names of people who were influenced or by is probably not the best way for me to go at this moment.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Who inspired you?
Oh man, people in general. But as far as music is concerned, nature, listen to the sounds of the atmosphere. Really, excited about it.
Do you
Sometimes,
go to like a quiet place to just meditate and you just hear the sounds of nature or something like that and you design a piece or
absolutely, but it doesn't have to be that, in a sense. I don't need quiet because lots of different sounds are interesting to me.
like
Like for instance, right out here, Roosevelt, and how like I was parked in the back and I'm listening to, certain traffic movements, and obviously it's raining and you're hearing splashes of the water and tires, people beeping the horn and whatnot. This sounds different than my neighborhoods, you know what I mean? And then downtown sounds different. So I'm cognizant of these environments that I channel into the creativity of sound design and music composition. So
can you give us a sample of that?
yeah,
Okay.
so a sample of um, somewhat spontaneous composition.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
um, I could start off with like a
All right. So, this is a unique style of playing the keyboard. Tell us about your unique style. You just told us about how you I can imagine just the spontaneous composing you just did.
Mhm.
I can imagine an R&B artist actually singing over it.
Mm.
Have any of like R&B artists saying that sound is dope, I can sing over that track? I mean, have you did some tracks for
Yeah.
any R&B people or
So
celebrities?
wow, yeah, that's great. I'm glad you feel that way. I feel that way too. I feel like that when I'm creating and in the zone and in the vibe, I can hear certain voices doing certain things, and a R&B vocal could be real slick. Have I collaborated with R&B? Yes, R&B, jazz, blues, voices, and I've created tracks that embody some of those genres. My interpretation of what a blues riff could be, or like something jazzy styled, soul, hip hop. I'm putting all these things together. I'm utilizing electronic tools, right? So this right here is called a OPZ, and what it is a sampling synthesizer sequencer, and all that means is that I can tell sounds to come on and off in specific timing, and I'm able to layer sounds, so I can create a sketch and keep building on that sketch, break down that sketch, and I utilize my synthesizer like a jazz musician utilizes his trumpet or her trumpet. You know, um, it's it's improvisational, it's spontaneous, it's in the moment, um, it's being aware of one's environment, it's listening to all the sounds and making something complementary based on the moment, being in the moment.
Uh, some Let's say for example, middle of the night,
Yes, sir.
you're sleeping, and all
Hmm.
of a sudden you hear that unique sound in your head, and now you're
Mm.
like, uh-oh, I got to get up. I got to, before anything. How can you
Hmm.
keep track of every little, like, not little, but every kind of, let's say, sound that's unique? It needs to go in, and you compose it, and man.
So if I'm inspired to get up at night, right?
Hmm.
Which that happens sometimes, right? I can be inspired. I'll be
Right.
like, it's ideas in my head. Okay. So I'll get up and work on something. And maybe I'll just work on it to like record a phrase that'll allow me to um, develop that later. You know, um, when it comes to like composition and creativity, you can keep tooling an idea and never stop. Um, so I have to have healthy balances between that too, where it's like, I think I want to stop here because if I keep going, I may
It's
not,
never ending.
it's never ending. Um, but how do I remember all these things? I don't know if it's a gift. I just like to think that I've been working that muscle to memorize sound and how it sounds over time and how it's environmental, and all of those things trigger other thoughts as well. It's like when you revisit one of your favorite songs and you listen to it, and you might remember something important that happened to you with that song at a time, and everything will come out where
Hmm.
it's like you could remember this event perfectly, but try to remember something, like on a call and be like, oh, I was trying to remember that day, that time. So,
Kind of like a song they play on the radio and it's very rare,
mhm,
but it's like they keep playing the same old song over and over and over again.
okay.
And then when you finally hear it, it's just like YouTube. You can like type it in and see if you can find that rare song,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody posts that rare song. Oh, that's it. I've been looking for this.
Okay.
Are you like that?
No, not so much. I'm I'm pretty chill. Um, and
You're telling me like a Wu-Tang song
uh,
that they rarely play on the radio,
uh,
rarely play, period.
mhm,
And somebody plays that song,
uh,
you're gonna be like, man, I haven't heard that since high school, since this or that.
well, yeah. I think that I would take a moment and appreciate it. But I think I still keep some of those, things that, were part of my past alive, in my rotation. So that might
Can
not
you
happen that
identify that? Because
well, I mean, you said Wu-Tang, it's probably not a rare Wu-Tang song that I don't know about,
okay,
I mean,
give
but
us an artist that's kind of like, you know, they don't play, that can be like, man, I haven't heard this in a while. I when I heard you play, compose
Mhm.
that spontaneous composition
Yes,
there,
sir.
I immediately thought Sante Savage, In the Rain.
Wow.
Through the Rain, I'm sorry, Through the Rain.
Sunshine. How
Is
you
it
say it?
is it
Shantae
Savage?
Savage. Okay, Shantae Savage. Okay.
Yeah, Sante
Yeah. If
Savage.
she's out there, I got this track for you.
She's a Chicagoan, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I remember her very well now. I can use music to recall memory. I can also use frequency to work on certain body functions. So when I'm composing, or I'm actually being, you know, um, cognizant of what I'm doing when I'm composing, I can include certain frequencies that stimulate certain body systems, like, and there's a
Now
vast
you got to
frequency
give me
range.
an example of that.
Well,
Because
okay, let's see.
you got to give me an
Yeah,
example of that.
let's see what we can do.
Body functions, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so give me a moment and
No, no problem.
let me find something that has all frequencies. Okay. Okay. We were still playing Ingulile. Let's see here. All right. Okay. Now I want you to tell me if you feel anything right under your rib cage to the left. Just
Well, it's kind of hard because the layer of fat.
yeah, yeah, but no, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go through the fat. I'll turn it up. No. Wait, hold on a second.
Okay, I feel that one. Okay,
You feel it?
yeah.
Okay. So what I've done, I just tuned in to the frequency of that area, and I can do things to help heal you. Based on
On the sound.
the frequency
Oh wow. Okay.
and what's happening over time.
How can you basically know what kind of frequency that person is? Do you need a conversation with them?
I didn't know, right? What I did was I went through several frequencies. I went through a range. I was sweeping the frequencies until you told me where it was, and you felt it
Mm-hmm.
right there. So we were concentrating on that area. But what I was doing, I was going through, from, let's say, like 40 hertz
Mm-hmm.
all the way up, get higher, and then you told me it set around like 270
Okay.
hertz,
Okay.
set around there. Um,
Do you do this like in your class
yeah, sometimes.
sometimes?
Yeah, when they want to go further.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And it helps inspire them come up with ideas.
absolutely. Because this is a tool. Imagine if you discover you had the power to heal yourself, and you never have to take, pills or medicines again.
And you do it through music,
and you do it through sound. Yeah,
sound.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How you keep your students interested in playing the keyboard or through music, period? It
So okay, so as an analogy, right?
hmm.
An artist is, someone who never put down their crayons,
Okay.
right? So in some ways, I've never put down those crayons, those tools that one can utilize to connect with the youth. They still have them at their leisure, and life hasn't stripped them away. So in many ways, you say I'm interested and invested. I'm just like them, but with more experience and uh, a certain wisdom that I can impart upon them. You know, but they inspire me in the same way I inspire them, for sure.
I always, when you brought this in,
Mm.
a question popped into my head. And I said, I got to ask you this question. I always wanted to know the difference between a church keyboardist and a regular keyboardist that plays music. Can you demonstrate the difference
Mm.
in that? The church keyboardist is kind of like always depending on the church.
Mm.
It's like the Baptist keyboardist,
Hmm.
the Methodist keyboardist, and
Man,
then you have, I mean, you see where I'm going, right?
I totally see where you're going. I don't think I have enough expertise to get to a satisfactory answer.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm. We'd have to discuss that with a round table of church officials, and
No, but
we have to bring the pulpit here, I guess.
no, 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 not the pulpit.
Okay.
But I would say probably like, let's say for example, technology is advancing,
It is advancing for sure.
and year to year,
Mhm.
do you think instruments will be the thing of the past,
Oh, never.
or regular instruments are here to stay?
I
The
think things will be developed. I think new things are being developed. Now, I mean, let's just put it like this.
Mhm.
You probably only seen one convention and one model of a piano. I mean, all of them have, two, three, two, three black keys, that pattern, right?
Right,
But and then the octave continues, excuse me, all right on front, 8 times, right?
right.
So, but there are different formats of what one considers a piano, okay? And they were built, but how we don't really know them because, for one reason or another. I guess what I'm trying to say is that um there are many versions of instruments that are out there that we know a bit about now, and but we don't collectively celebrate them. You only really see one style of the trumpet, but there are a lot of different styles that give different sounds. Okay. um and I think that with technology, how we engage with instruments will change and is changing, because instrumentation is a means to something else, correct?
Mhm.
You play this to get what? You play that to get a sound out, right?
Right.
Okay, so how we get sound out is the important thing, not the instrument itself.
But okay, somebody told me this. It's like it's the person behind the keys
Hmm.
to put soul in that music,
Hmm.
to put soul in in that music, soul in that craft.
Absolutely.
Is that a true assessment? Like, do you put the soul in your composition
Every moment,
every moment?
every moment.
What if you say that's not enough soul?
That's impossible.
How?
Because I've never said it. No, I mean seriously though.
Because uh, you can tell nowadays,
Yeah,
especially in today's music,
for sure.
that someone just kind of like, you need an album out
Mm.
and you just threw something together.
No feeling.
No feeling.
Yeah,
And then you do sample after sample, no unique sound.
no unique
No,
sound.
no unique sound. And I'm not saying this.
Hmm.
I'm not saying this. But people have said there is no uniqueness in Beyonce's new track.
Mm. Well,
Everything is sampled. Everything is copied. There is no unique. Only the words.
mm. Well, the words is art though. Words are art.
It's
Yeah.
art, but it's kind of like, I mean, it takes away the artistry. You think,
Mm. Well,
or the
I think
or the
that when
unique.
people look at someone like Beyonce, they're not really seeing artistry. They're seeing enterprise.
Serious?
Yeah. That's,
You think she has an enterprise? Or
yeah, of course Beyonce has an enterprise. Amazing one, obviously. Everyone knows her.
yeah. So, what are your thoughts about today's music and the effects on individuals? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's one of the main reasons I work with young people because I don't enjoy some of the things that the music of today promotes. And I think that they need an alternative. I think we all need an alternative. I think that folks do not realize how powerful sound is for their own well being. And with the Sandbox Symphony, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm introducing you to a new way to engage with art so you can get some different sensibilities and make better informed decisions about how you do whatever. Um, so with my students, it's the same discipline. I give them examples. I let them experiment. But I also try to learn about, the music of the day so I could understand how, folks relate to it and what they're getting from it. And lots of times what makes me challenge it is that they can't really say what they're getting from it or really like
Is it too dark?
articulate. I mean, there's a lot of dark music, right? Not just, like some of the popular things on the radio. Dark music has been around for a long time. So we know how, you know, it affects people and can influence, Um, I mean, music can change your mood, right?
Yeah. So let's say I'm gonna give examples, and I
Mhm.
want you to play for us if you can. Let's say someone is in a bad mood, or you in a bad mood.
Mhm.
What kind of composition that you can come up with if, let's say, for example, you in a bad mood,
Mhm.
you want to be in a good, how can you get a good vibe, you know going if you had a bad day?
How can I get a good vibe going if I had a bad day?
Oh, see, so it all depends. If I had a bad day, I can just, center myself where I am. The best depends. Maybe like uh, go to the bathroom, wash my face off. Um, take a moment to myself and just kind of reflect. I don't have to be in a special space because you don't always get that opportunity. And sometimes you need to reset yourself. But if I can be in my space, you know, there's so many things that could help me. Get back to a pleasurable state. I got my instruments, I got tools to build things, I got paintbrushes to paint, I got sanders to sand.
So you channel that energy.
Absolutely into creative things for sure. Um, helps me breathe, just even thinking about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so since you're spontaneous,
Yes, sir.
okay, What about this interview? How can you compose this interview? How can you oppose Earl Winfrey's intellectual radio?
Oh, let's come up with something.
Yeah, let's come up with something.
Okay.
And while you're coming up with something, do you think we're getting back? Oh, there we go.
And while I'm coming up with something,
Yeah, while you coming up with something, do you think we will get back to the music bands like Mint Conditions, Zap Rogers, the Ohio Players?
do I think we'll get back to that?
Yeah, do you think we're getting back to that?
Why would we want to get back to it when we can go forward? But we can still celebrate the past going forward. So concepts that they've had that imparted, great things, that inspired us in positive ways. Maybe we extract those and then come up with new ways. But yeah, I don't over romanticize the old. And I'm not hyper focused on the future. Right now I'm trying to stay in the present.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the intellectual radio vibe, right?
Yeah, we're trying to get there.
Okay.
Trying to get there for something. See where we're gonna go with it.
So you do this like all the time when you're, no matter what setting you're in, right?
Well, not all settings, right?
True. Not all, most settings, right?
Yeah, I would agree to that.
But let's say you're at a coffee shop or something like that. And you got this tune in your head. Do you have something like that on your phone that you can just record it and just deal with it later?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So you make mental notes on it.
So the mental note is associated with a sound.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm a really old school, new school.
There's a notepad in my iPhone. I'll just say, blah blah blah. I was thinking about this, you
Hmm.
know, at Intellectual Radio. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and then I could search that. So it's kind of easy too, right? So if you make a
Right.
note in your phone, you can search it, searchable.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, that's not so exciting, but if I want to remember something that was important and I want to go back to it, taking a little note is pretty. It works well for me. Um, so.
Yeah. Getting back to the bands, so
Mhm,
to speak, like the mid conditions, Ohio players and the bands and stuff like that. What I was getting to is each and every person in that group plays their own instruments.
mhm,
And what I meant by that is your students.
mhm.
Like, do you think like a concept like that? Hey, let's get together, let's collab, let's do a jam session or something like that. Getting back to like what music used to be, even though you're saying the past is the past, let's focus on the present.
Mhm.
Is kind of like, are we, because some people think we're moving away from real instruments and going with the synthesizers and
Mm.
cleaning things up and sound auto
Yeah,
tunes and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, so my answer or my thoughts about it, pretty simple.
Hmm.
The sound itself is not as important as the instrument.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Inversely. The sound is more important than the instrument, the vessel to get to the sound. That's what I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
And meaning that how we get to music is probably less important than, you know, learning the clarinet, because you're learning the clarinet to get to the sound,
Hmm.
right? And that sound is what you're looking for. And there are many ways to get sound. Like instruments can, birds sound like flutes sometime. Birds sound like, clarinets. So birds sound like a lot of different things, right?
Hmm.
You listen to birds sometimes it's very pleasant, So just being in nature, listening to birds chirp, you hear these things, these sounds. So it's like it's pleasurable. So I guess what I'm trying to say easily is that listening and how we listen, is kind of a little bit more important than, it's not as important how we got there. So in terms of like, synthesizer is not real, or, she's not playing the piano or the keyboard, um, you know, how she made a song or how she got to this idea that we're listening to is is not as important as to what we're listening to and that we love this thing, you know, because I can make sound off this table, but that's not a formal instrument, is it? So,
Depends on how you do it.
well, there you go. Depends on how you do it, but also what's more important, the sound, because that's what we're doing. We
Mhm.
making a sound. So,
How can people volunteer or support Sandbox Symphony?
oh, that's fairly simple. If you go to my website, thebeatbank.net, that's TheBeatBank.net, you'll see that link. It'll say, how can I support, the Beat Bank and Sandbox Symphony? Click that link and you'll find out. Um, but in general, come to Sandbox Symphony and, talk to me. We need, some people doing various things, good people, of course. And this is a free event.
You
Um,
emphasize the good people.
good people, the good people. Yeah, because we want that good energy.
Hmm.
Because the theme is healing rays, so we're gonna be in the sun and having lots of fun.
And I wanted to see that you're a person that, a lot of people say, I can feel your energy.
Mm.
I can feel you have good vibes. You have bad vibes. I'm going to stay away from it. Are you a person that can tell good energy, bad vibes, and stuff like that?
I think most people could tell that, but yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
I'm in
How?
tune
Yeah.
with that for sure.
Yeah. What about people with good intentions?
Good intentions versus what? Bad energy? What do you mean?
Vibe.
Good intentions versus vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know if I understand it.
What I'm saying is, you can have a good vibe,
Hmm.
but you can have bad intentions.
Okay.
You can have good vibes. I mean, well, you can have bad intentions and good vibes.
Mm. I I think the vibe is so pure that I think it's kind of hard to. I don't know. I don't know people that could throw their vibe a different way to make you feel something that's not there. I think
Mhm.
there's always the vibe that you can make sure that you're tuned into to know if they're really truly honest. Um, but you know, um, if it feels wrong, it's probably wrong.
There you go. So, people who wants to support and volunteer, they just have to talk to you.
They just talk to me. You can be in touch with me on our website directly. But
You can give your website out.
we just did one more time.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
It's thebeatbank.net and spelled TheBeatBank.net. And Sandbox Symphony starts at 1. That's our soft start. And then our hard start is at 2. But get there, find your space, and indulge with us in a symphony of art activations for healing and inspiration. We have electronic music, we have fitness things, we have commerce with our vendors, and
What
we
kind of
have
vendors you have?
we got some jewelry makers, we got some masseuse. We have a variety of vendors, from like services to actual product,
Hmm.
and then some food vendors.
Okay.
That's actually a thing that has been quite challenging this time, attracting um, vegan food vendors because we're interested in you know everyone, but we really like to attract some vegan food vendors, and we've had some trouble with that. So
Okay.
that's
If
one way
some,
you can support us. If you
yeah.
can put us in touch with some vegan food vendors that have the capacity to be at Sandbox Symphony on August 13th, this Saturday, that would be quite helpful. And you can do that on my website very easily.
All right.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much, sir.
Thank
I
you,
really
brother.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Man, great energy.
Yeah. Thank
I
you.
hope good intentions and great vibe. Yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for the Drive at 5. Thanks to Earl Winfrey, our executive producer, Wanda, who's behind the scenes. You're going to play us out of here.
Oh, okay. Then let's
So
do
you
that.
guys have a wonderful week. He's playing us out. So there you go.
There we go. And there we go. I'm glad I know now. Okay. I thought I was ready to play you out.
Yeah. You need some more time. Is Sandbox is this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
Saturday,
Yeah.
1 p.m. is the soft start, 2 p.m. is the hard start. And if vendors, especially vegan vendors, they need to hear you out. So you guys have a wonderful week. He's playing us out.